Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review for The Punisher issue 223. And this did not disappoint as the end of the whole Petrov storyline for Frank going after him. They did a really good job of dealing with the whole nuclear missile situation and all of the rest of Frank going after Petrov, and it was done in a very Punisher fashion. So, he's having to try and deal with the nuclear warhead that was set off in the last issue. So he's flying after it. He's got Fury talking in his ear in one end and the computer in the other, and he's trying to figure out ways to deal with it. First he thinks about shooting it, but of course, its fuel set it off. So he's like, alright, drop the guns. He's like, alright, fine. It's like, alright, still not fast enough. Drop any armor that's unnecessary. He's like, well, it's kind of all this, do it. And then, of course, Fury is screaming at him about starting a nuclear war, and he's like, alright, the reward goes to whoever get the other one to shut up. And the computer's like, what's my reward? He's like, well, I can think and not get blown up. And then the computer's able to terminate the connection. So, we see the last two turncoat SHIELD agents on the ground trying to figure out what's going on, and they see the missile explode. They're like, Jesus, he blew himself up. Because if that was the nuclear blast, we'd all be silhouettes by now. Then we see Frank fall down, and he's freaking atlasing the nuclear portion of the warhead, giving them to the count of 5 to get out of their armor because he doesn't have any weapons, and saying that he'll set off the nuke. And his whole end game was to make sure that the missile didn't go anywhere else. He didn't really specify if he wasn't going to nuke the country. So they're like, no, you don't have to do this and everything. Fury's getting furious, and Frank's about to set it off. He's like, I should have done this days ago, and then an EMP thing goes off, and that's more of what Frank's idea was, I think. And all the suits go down, and Frank's just like, goes at him just regular Punisher stuff. Taking out people, stepping on this one guy's neck to kill him, and demolishing this one dude, breaking his arm, and shoving his knife into the dude's chest. It was like, holy crap. So then he's got the knife now, and he's going up to the bunker and says, alright, Petrov, either you come out, or I'm coming in. And then, of course, Petrov busts out in his own Iron Man-like armor, and going, yeah, you didn't think I'd just leave these around. I'd take one for myself, you know? And thus begins Frank taking this dude apart. Now, granted, it's a little bit harder for him because he didn't think he'd have to deal with something like this in the beginning, but he starts like using a bomb to, well, like a tank shell to blow up in his face to discombobulate him. He freaking stabs him in the eye and slices one of his hands. He's like, what the hell? And I'm like, yeah, I had one of these too, so I know all the weak points. And he gets blasted by one of the repulsors, but he's able to then get up and slice off one of his hands, saying, yeah, I told you I was going to take you apart piece by piece. And Petrov, of course, tries to fly up and get away, but Frank just pretty much climbs on top of him before he's able to get high enough away. He's like, alright, I'll just pretty much suffocate you and everything. He's like, you're dead and you don't even realize it. He's like, yeah, so are you. And he digs out the main, arc reactor in the suit, and he's like, oh no, but Frank's got a plan in that he's using it and pretty much gets it into a repulsor blast and stops his momentum enough to stop himself from dying, but not Petrov. So I was like, holy crap. And that's where that portion ends. We then get to Fury watching the news and everything and seeing the consequences of his actions of letting the Punisher loose in the War Machine armor to go after someone on the world stage, saying that the world now views him as the lone American terrorist and how that's going to affect international relations and everything because of all the carnage that he's caused in Ternea. And, of course, Captain Marvel comes in asking if he knows anything about what he's planning on doing next and if he's got a way to stop him. He's like, no, I don't. But he's like, he'll turn up. Then it cuts to, at the end, we see, we're in New York and we see like these monster guys having a poker game and everything. And then, of course, Frank comes in the War Machine armor, and it'll be interesting to see. I'm glad that they're continuing on with this because it is an interesting dynamic change of Frank in the War Machine armor. Because we've seen him using it in this arc, and it hasn't really dulled him. It's actually added some versatility to how he thinks and what he does. It doesn't diminish him as a character. It's just a new tool set for him to use after the bad guys that he usually goes after. So I really like this art, and it'll be interesting to see where it goes from here and how eventually they're going to get the armor back from him, because I don't think Frank's going to give this up willingly. It's going to take a lot of heroes to get him into a point where they can take it from him. And I hope that since they're bringing Tony back, he's going to have to be the one that eventually faces Frank and gets back the War Machine armor. So we'll have to see how that works. So those are my opinions on the issue. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.